Welcome, everybody, to our second Saturday's poetry reading. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Dan Kerr, and I have the privilege of being your moderator today for our monthly program hosted by Kathleen Donnelly. We will start at 11 o'clock approximately. If you want to participate in the open read, please put your name in chat. Out of respect for the other poets, please keep your microphone muted unless it is your turn to read. Kathy and I believe that feedback is a gift. So if you have any suggestion on the program, something we did that you liked, something that we did that you didn't like, something we could do better, have a very simple email. It's right there, danielbker@verizon.net. Just send me the note, and Kathy and I will consider it as we continue to fine tune this program. We've been doing it for over 3 years now, virtually, but we do modify it based on your input. So please don't be shy. Our planned agenda at a high level is I'll get you settled. I'll turn it over to Kathy. Kathy normally reads a poem and then we'll introduce our featured poet, which is Deborah Hauser. Deborah will then read for approximately 20 minutes out of her works. Then we'll have the open read. And again, put your names in chat if you want to participate in the open read. And then we'll bring Deborah back for an encore. And then Kathy will conclude the program and announce the poet for August, who we're fortunate actually to have with us today. This is one of many outreach programs of All Souls Church. There's a number of things we do. I recognize you're here for poetry, not for evangelization, but we do a number of things at the church that the poets do participate in. One is we do a concert series. So every month we do a concert in the historical chapel. So the next concert is August 3rd, and it's a bluegrass group called Eastbound Freight will be performing. We do the poetry every month, as you know. It's always the second Saturdays of the month, always at 11 o'clock, always virtually. So thank you for joining us today. Please consider joining us in the future. We also do Native American drumming at the church, and we do that once a month as well. Native American drumming comes out of the Native American tradition. It's a healing experience that's about 1,000 years old, several thousand years old. And there is our Native American drummer, Dr. Rick Stadler, who leads the program every month. Once a year, we combine the poetry and the music program and the Native American drumming into one program, Conversations of the Sacred. And so we did this last Saturday, and you can see the picture in the middle at the top there. You can see the various poets who participated. You'll see also the Native American drummer is there, musicians from the university, Dan Kinney, the organist from All Souls, and you'll recognize many of the poets there. These are the poets that participated. So this is the date that we did. This was last Saturday. This is an annual event. So what we do basically is we have spiritual poems from various traditions that are read by the poets. You'll recognize the list of poets. And then after each poem, there is a musical interlude, either on the All Souls historic urban organ, which you see Dan Kinney playing here, or the musicians from the university. You'll see two of them here, or our Native American drummer, who you'll see there in the background. So this is an annual event. So we haven't set the date yet. It will be likely in July of 2025. So please, if you're interested in participating in this, if you're interested in being one of the readers, or if you just want to come, please get it on your calendar for next July. We'll be announcing the date soon. And then once a year, we celebrate the role of All Souls in the community in the various outreach programs. And we also raise funds to make the church accessible. Deborah and others who attended and Kathy certainly know from experience, those of you who attended the program in the church last Saturday know that it's a bit of a hike to get up that hill, and the church doesn't have a bathroom. So in addition to celebrating the role of the church, what we do is we raise funds through this race, through sponsorships and registration fees, to make the church accessible to all, and also put a bathroom attached to the church. And we've been dedicating the funds from the race to that cause for the last 5 or 6 years, and we've raised at this point about just under $100,000. So we've got about half of the cost of the project already raised through the race. There is a group called the Live Poet Society, and this was a group started by Sharon Doyle about five years ago So there's a group of poets each year that walk during the event. So please get this on your calendar if you'd like to join us. I'm sure the poets, Richard and Barbara and others, and Wendy would enjoy having others walking with them. And you can, again, it's a 5K race and a 2K walk. We haven't had any poets so far that have wanted to run, but we've had quite a few that would like to walk. So please consider joining us this year. And it's August 6th. Okay, so again, welcome to the program. And at this point, I will turn you over to our host, Kathy Donnelly. Kathy, they're all yours.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. We're very privileged today to have Deborah, and I'm going to start with a poem, though, not of Deborah's, someone else. There was a great poet, the generation before us, and David Ignatow was one of them, but he had a daughter named Yadi, and I'm going to read a poem by his daughter. It's called The Potato Song. Darkness, sunlight, and a little holy spit. Don't explain an onion with its rose windows and presentiment of the sublime, a green shoot growing out of rock, or the endless farewells of trees. Wild grasses don't grow just to feed sheep, hold down the soil, or keep stones from rolling. They're meant to be seen, give joy, break the heart. But potatoes hardly have a way of knowing. They sense if it is raining or not, how much sunlight or darkness they have, not which wind is blowing or if there are crows or red-winged blackbirds overhead. They are unaware of the battles of worms, the nightmares of moles, underground humplings. They do not sleep or wonder. Sometimes I hear them call me Mr. from the ditch. Workers outside my window in Long Island cut potatoes in pieces, burn them, water them. Each part is likely to sprout the flower. No one so lordly not to envy that. So I think sometimes when you read with all your poetry, they can't help but become infected. So now we have Deborah Hauser. This is her bio. Suffolk County Poet Laureate, and that's current. Feminist, activist, certified Innu therapist, and fairy tale revisionist. Deborah Hauser, he, she, they, is the author of Innu. Let me spell that for you. It's ENNUI, from the Diagnostic and Statistical Field Guide of Feminine Disorders. Her poems and book reviews have appeared or are forthcoming in Ms. Magazine, Women's Review of Books, Kenyon Review, Prairie Schooner, Bellevue Literary Review, and Calyx, that's CALYX. Her work explores the intersection of poetry and activism. A Pushcart Prize nominee, she was taught literature and writing at Stony Brook University and Suffolk County Community College. She has featured at the Northeast Modern Language Association, New York University, Newman University, KGB Bar, Walt Whitman Birthplace, and Bowery Poetry Club. She has presented her academic work at conferences, including the Feminism and Rhetorics Conference and graduate conferences at the City University of New York and Stony Brook University. Incredible, really incredible. So we welcome Deborah to share with us her poetry.
Thank you. I'll jump right into it with my usual opener. After the wedding, they never dance again, except as required at state functions. The glass slippers forgotten at the back of the closet, she wears Uggs and Crocs. Sleeping Beauty calls. They talk about starting a girl band, but the timing is never right. Her first book, Cinders, is a blockbuster memoir about her fairy tale rescue. She confesses that even a palace is full of ashes to sweep when you're a woman. The marriage falls apart when he sleeps with the stepsisters during her book tour. She sells the slippers on eBay, goes back to school for a degree in women's studies, and writes a second book on feminist philosophy, How to Survive Happily Ever After. Thank you, Dan and Kathy, for having me. I was very glad to be on Zoom this morning when I saw how hard it was raining outside, so this is amazing. Thank you for everyone who came out to listen and to share a poem. I'm looking forward to the open mic. Let's see. I might change it up a little because Kathy referenced a poem that I didn't actually have in the lineup, but we'll see how it goes. I was going to keep it lighter, but I'm going to blame this on you, Kathy, if I add this poem. So I'm going to start with Greek mythology and the story of Cassandra. And as far back as we have stories written, we have stories about women not being believed when they report assault. So the story in Greek mythology of Cassandra is that Apollo gave her the gift of prophecy. She could see everything that was going to happen in the future. And then when she wouldn't sleep with him, he got angry and he cursed her and said, okay, you can keep the gift, but no one will ever believe you. Cassandra. A meteor locked in orbit, my hair is the tail of a comet. Cursed from the moment I refused Apollo. But it is not wolf that I cry. Trapped in the voice of a penny arcade fortune teller, I see it all. Foretell the fall of Troy. I contain my own destruction. Rape and murder caution the virgins, but I am powerless to persuade or alter my course. Entranced, I swallow fire. In keeping with Greek mythology, there's also the story of Leda. Leda was raped by Zeus when he came to Earth disguised as a swan. So I tried to put that in a present day context and imagine if she had tried to report it to the police. On swan rape. Jogging, just jogging around the lake. Shorts, a tank top. Yes, I was wearing a bra. No, I don't know why he attacked me. No, there were no witnesses. His wings provided cover. No, I couldn't fight him off. He was too strong. His wings kept flapping, and my mouth was stuffed with feathers. Yes, a swan. No, not dressed like a swan, an actual swan. He was a very large swan, and he overpowered me. No, I never met the swan before. Not this swan or any other swan. No, I don't date waterfowl. A wolf? Yes, I went out with a wolf. A few times. No, the wolf and the swan don't know each other. It ended badly. I had to get an order of protection. He threatened to blow my house down and eat my grandmother. No, I don't see his photo in this book. No, I can't identify him in this lineup. There are no swans standing there. I said a large white swan with black webbed feet and an orange beak. No, I'm sure it was not the black gentleman in the orange jacket. No, it was not a black swan. It was another white-haired politician who thinks he's some kind of god. Thank you. And now I'll bring it into present day. I wrote this for Christine Blasey Ford et al. ETAL is the Latin abbreviation for, that means too many others to list here. Why she didn't report it. Because it was her father, uncle, husband, brother, boyfriend, coach, boss. Because it happened in her own home. Because they already knew and pretended not to. Because she was scared. Because she needed him. Because she thought no one else would ever love her. Because maybe it wouldn't happen again. Because he was sorry. Because he was drinking. Because she was drinking. Because she was wearing because she was nobody, because she needed the job, because she was 5 years old, because she wasn't a virgin, because fraternities, because she couldn't afford the cost to process her own rape kit, because there was no visible wound, because she knows how this goes, because she didn't want to stand trial, because she has learned to become invisible. Because she did, no one listened. Because he cut out her tongue, because he threatened to kill her. Because he was a doctor, teacher, judge, priest, fine, upstanding citizen. Because she doesn't want to relive it. Because she doesn't owe you an explanation. Because she wants to move on. Because she thinks she's okay. Because she still has those dreams. Because when she opens her mouth to scream, no sound comes out. Because shame and rage hold her together. Because I might disintegrate. I'm going to do some Summer in the Suburbs poems. This first one is Everywhere. We knew to keep walking when the station wagon slowed and the driver leaned out the window. We'd been warned, don't talk to strangers. We ran into the deli, giddy from our brush with danger, and shared a can of Coke. He was arrested for indecent exposure 1 town away. Our proximity to evil made us famous on the playground, independence, fireworks, explosions everywhere that flammable July. We felt desired and burned with shame. And this next one is for the 4th of July. Last year, a lot of people, women in particular, had conflicted feelings about celebrating the 4th of July, and there was some talk about the 4th of July being the country's birthday. And I got this idea about treating it like a birthday party. Celebrating the 4th of July is like when your family throws a birthday party for your abuser. Waving a melting popsicle and a damp sparkler, you mouth the words to happy birthday. They say he's family, but he's not your real uncle. He brings the fireworks, deafening ammo that leaves the dog shaking. America is that sleazy uncle, brandishing a Budweiser, always threatening to blow something up or hit someone. When you protest, they look away, hand you a flag, demand you sing. All right, I'll lighten up slightly. This next one, the title is an Italian term for a painting technique used by Leonardo da Vinci. The title is sfumato. It's no mystery to me, that tight-lipped, almost smile. He thinks she's being coy, but I recognize her amused look. I like to imagine that as Leonardo puts down his paintbrush and drops his gaze, Mona Lisa breaks the pose, smiles to herself. He trims the edges of the canvas, fits her into a small frame, his technique perfected, her outline vanished, imperceptible. Centuries later, we queue up to study the masterpiece, a man telling a woman to smile. Okay, I'll read a few verses from my chapbook. Ennui, from the Diagnostic and Statistical Field Guide of Feminine Disorders. It also has a little ribbon dangling from it, so it makes a great cat toy. And some advice on book titles This is such a mouthful. One word, 2 syllables at the most. Next time I'm keeping it very short. Pronunciation. Ennui. Ennui. Also, Henry. Etymology. Mid-18th century French from the Latin, mihi in odio est. It is hateful to me. Compared to annoy, annoy. Definition. Particular genre of boredom and disinterest that afflicts women restricted from fulfilling their potential. See also suburbanitis. Figure, a corset binding the soul. And this is a long poem broken up into short sections, and each section uses a lot of white space and has a different shape, and this one kind of looks like a corset. And I'll end with my favorite, Precursor. Victorian era female hysteria and related diseases of the womb, including wandering womb, but excluding the wombat. It's another Summer on Long Island poem, and the title of this one comes from a Van Halen lyric. All flavors and push-ups too. That summer, the heat was palpable. We lit matches and passed our fingers through the flame. We wanted to burn. It was the last year we would play Marco Polo at the public pool. Fueled by high C and pixie sticks, we cartwheeled down the street, spun ourselves until we collapsed on the lawn, dizzy and weak. I imagine this is what love would feel like when David Lee Roth picked me out of the audience and rescued me. But our real idols were the older girls who hung out on the corner and took the train to the city. They swaggered in denim cutoffs and tube tops. Their cherry lips left stains on their beer cans and cigarette butts. Tongues Twizzler red like the Rolling Stones logo. Jessica swore she saw one of them French a boy under the bleachers. Forbidden lip gloss, we sucked and bit our lips like the women in the waterlogged Harlequin paperbacks we passed back and forth. In Laura's basement, we put pool balls in our training bras and practiced cocking our hips, studied how the cool girls flipped their feathered hair and looked down at us from kohl-rimmed eyes. All flavors and push-ups too, we sang along to a portable radio. One Sunday, the prettiest one, Melissa, lifted her chin ever so slightly in my direction, as if to say, "Hey kid, you're all right." It felt like the time a down power line sprayed sparks on the sidewalk, and we took turns getting as close to it as we dared. I will end with 2 running poems. So I think running can be a lot like writing. I do almost all of my writing in the solitude of my home alone by myself. And then every once in a while I do a reading and all of a sudden I'm performing for all these people. And running is the same way for me. I've never run with anyone unless it's a race. So I do 90% of my running outside alone or on my treadmill alone. And then a couple times a year, I join a race and I'm running with hundreds or thousands of people. And running can be, it can be punishing. There are different reasons people run. Some people say you run to punish your body. But there's also a joy to it, so I'll give you both sides. Around the track. She said I should carry mace when I run in the park. Double knotting my laces tighter than necessary, I ignored her. I think she meant she was worried something could happen to me in the woods, or that she was sorry about, you know. But I wasn't going to placate her. I wanted to run like a racehorse until my heart burst. The last time I saw my father, he kept spinning the merry-go-round, yelling at me to jump on, but I just wanted to run after it like a dog chasing a car. He's been dead for years now. I'm glad I don't have to make awkward conversation with him ever again. Happy not to pretend we have some connection. I watch fathers on the playground, waiting to catch their kids at the bottom of the plastic slide. We like to think we can make the world safe. When I tell my mother I'm never going to have children, she squeaks like the old merry-go-round, like I've dealt her a physical blow. Then she breathes out slowly, deflated. She tells me to wear reflective clothing at night. I put on my sneakers, zip my black jacket. Imagine a jockey in an emerald vest whipping me around the track one more time. And I'll end on a lighter, more joyous note, and I've even got a comment on faith in here since we're reading for the church. Sunday at Southard's Pond. I lace up, run into the trail, around the curve, geese honking above the pond, swerve past dog walkers and strollers, over the wooden footbridge, each step a leap of faith. It seems possible one day I'll fly.
Thank you, Deborah. That was very, very moving. Just
Thank you for listening. I'm looking forward to hearing everyone.
great reading, just from the beginning, and in terms of the fairy tale beginning, the poem about Cassandra and the rape with the swan et al. I mean, just very moving, painful poems, but very moving. The July 4th with the sleazy uncle drinking a Budweiser, that one's going to be stuck in my head for a while. Glad I don't drink Budweiser. The Futamaro, the definitions, Marco Polo is just amazing. You brought us back to your youth, and that was just traveled in time with you, and the running poems are certainly near and dear to the hearts of anyone who has ever run. So thank you. It's just a great reading. So,
thank you for listening so closely.
They said that, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You ought to respect that proportion. So let me try to respect that proportion. Let's move now into the open read. And for those of you who are new, just a couple of things with regard to the open read. So if you want to read, put your name in chat. I will recognize or call upon you to read in groups of 3, so no one is surprised. So as it stands right now, there are 10 people who put their name in chat. So if you haven't put your name in chat, please put it in. And between Kathy and I, we'll go around at the end and we'll make sure if some of you are chat challenged, everyone who wants to read will get an opportunity to read. Please keep your microphone muted. So when you turn your mic on, when you read, please remember to turn it off because the background noise can be quite distracting to the other listeners when you're not reading and we hear the sound of a barking dog or a ringing telephone or something like that. Please wait to be called upon to read, and Kathy will come back and close the program after we bring Deborah back for an encore. So as far as the sequence in the open read, well, the first group of 3 will be Marvin, followed by Linda, followed by Don. So Marvin, over to you.
Since we last met, Willie Mays passed away. So this is a poem in which Willie Mays is mentioned. You may get a kick out of the first word in the poem and the last 2. It's called Flipping Cards, Summer 53. Amazed you'll be, watching my magic fingers spin the trusty card with just the right action, making light of air from tumbling through space. The face side of the Duke of Flashbush, then the number side, his face, the number there. I won the match of heads or tails. The cardboard squares rest on gum-lidded asphalt. For chewing's not what this game's about. To win a mantle or a maze, is the whole shebang of summer days and summer nights, when under lights of tar-touched poles, I flip my youth freely, knowing that in the spin of all tomorrows, I will never rise above the falling cards and my fluttering heart when I pick up a mantle or a maze.
Thank you, Marvin. Well done.
I also mentioned in the poem The Duke of Flatbush. You may remember the song Willie, Mickey, and the Duke, which was very popular many years ago. And the Duke of Flatbush, of course, is Duke Snyder, the three great center fielders for the Giants, the Yankees, and the Dodgers in the 1950s.
Thank you. That's the time where baseball truly was America's pastime. Okay, thank you, Marvin. Linda, always a pleasure to have someone from Northport.
Thank you so much.
Poet.
Thank you so much. Before I read, I just want to make sure that you are all invited tomorrow to Northport Village Park for the official inauguration of the Poetry Path in the Village Park. It's at 1 o'clock. I hope you can make it. And that is all. I will now read my poem. This is called Pneumatic Drill for the working folks in Stonington, Maine. All day the scene changed. All day small bodies painted raindrop patterns on the windshield. All day pine trees washed in showers tipped their cone-laden heads as we drove by. There was the sticky note on the door welcoming me. They left the light on for us. A small immaculate room, perfect for a new view, a foghorn lullaby. The sun had the strongest voice in this slant room. This time I unpack, give in to the stay. The waves clapping over open spaces in the stone wall making music. Granite, fringed, edges our walk. Wind washing up over my chin, past my ears as I lean back against the slant deck chair. I breathe in. I breathe in. I breathe in airs of wet dock, old rope, low tide. I watch the patterns on the water, breath-driven rock foundation. The welcome at the inn, the no TV shows I usually watch gift. Nothing routine, save breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. The no driving, the silence, punctuated by the ever-present foghorn. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Well done. Okay. Over to Don Billings next.
Okay, this poem was written in 2018. There was a big commotion going on in the country about immigrants crossing the border. And this poem is in two voices. The first voice is the voice of an immigrant, and the second voice is someone that lives in this country, a certain kind of person. It's called Coming to America. We came from injustice and poverty, came from intimidation, fear, and famine. We walked and walked, seemed like forever. We came on ships with hope and a single blanket, dreaming of America, a land of plenty, to make a home, to have food, be safe. We were the Irish, the Italians, the Jews. We were the McConnells, the Giulianis, the Kushners. We came with hope for a better life. We were the Norwegians, the Chinese, the Russians. We came with the clothes on our back and didn't know the language. This is a different speaker. Now that was a long time ago. Now we want a wall. Now we don't want you to come. This is our land. We don't want you refugees walking in with children and the clothes on your back, fleeing crime and hunger. Let it be known we'll take the scientists, the engineers, and the wealthy may come. But let it be known, if you come with children, just clothes on your back with a single blanket, we may take your child, put him in a cage. Let it be known you might never see your child again. He'll be lost among all the children we take. In America, if you come, you'll see just how rotten we've become. And let us not forget, many came on slave ships, and to be sure, some would send them back. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Okay, over to Robert. The next group of three is Robert, followed by Chip, followed by Marguerite. So Robert, over to you. Robert, remember you got to turn your mic on.
Got it. Okay, got it. Storyteller. The shelf life of the self is based on the individual for reasons no one knows. Early one morning, I decided to backpedal to bicycle years before graduation, when those volumes of required reading were stacked for textbook burning celebrations. So tired of yellow streetlights, tall buildings, and narrow alleys, I traveled through the wilderness where most of my life was meditative. Stopped to join a storyteller's circle and slowly watched the moon play hide and seek between the pines and the clouds. Stories that come to frighten, stories that come to hurt, secrets best left forgotten. Burning branches begin to smell like the incense of confession. Fireflies blink their cold light to attract a mate. No different from the youth pack's cold, flirtatious stare, that's no different from the snake as it slithers past, flicks, and retracts its forked tongue. I warn not to pretend to be someone else, yet ghosts continue climbing out of the campfire. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Well done. Chip, over to you.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for and everyone at All Souls. Deborah, what a beautiful reading. Your work just always gives me goosebumps, and it's difficult to breathe when you speak sometimes. I knew the soul. I get tired of looking up only to see the dirt on the soul that's constantly pressing me down. No doubt, with all my might, I will, no matter what, continue to fight and most likely cry. I know y'all questioning, well, tradition, honor, bravery, strength, pledge and oath, duty, and finally the cliche. I shouldn't complain cause, yes, I know and imagine there's always someone somewhere worse off than I. Truthfully, nonetheless, here I am, barely lifting that dirty soul just so I can breathe, while hoping and praying that one day soon I'll be able to squeeze out from under the heavy foot of incarcerated sorrow. I swear if I don't make it out today, I'll try again even harder tomorrow. You see, I can't give up and I won't give in as long as I have one breath of air. I don't care how bad it appears, for in my soul I know they meaning the source, the power, the glory and light within, can't or won't put more on me than I can bear. I believe God's love and strength I receive and clutch to my bosom with all my weary might. Locked within my soul, I rest in trust that the gift of his spirit and merciful grace will sustain me tonight. In the morning, I will offer thanks to God again and again for giving me another day. And I know with him, I'll live from under that dirty soul and finally slip away. Thank you.
Thank you, Chip. Well done. Okay. Marguerite?
Thank you, Dan. And thank you, Deborah, your reading. You reminded me of a poem about strong women that I'm going to read right now called Girls of Revolution Street. A woman waves a headscarf on a pole, not a sign of surrender. It's bravery and strength. Far away in Tehran, this risk taker arrested, challenged authorities, stood against the Islamic Republic. More women and an older woman appear on social media, hijabs as flags, letting the world view disclose olive skin, uncovering dark hair, reveal their hidden features, allow us to witness Persian beauty. They aren't just Middle Eastern people. These are today's pioneers building history, one mind and one head at a time.
Thank you, Marguerite. Very kindly.
Thank you.
Next group of three is Chris, followed by Karen, followed by Claude. So Chris, over to you.
Okay, here I go. This poem I'm going to read is called, hold on, there's another joint. This poem, okay, so this poem is called Vanilla. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, you're fine, Chris. You're coming through loud and clear.
Okay. Vanilla. She savored the taste of vanilla cake, slowly chewing as she moves her jaw clockwise, grinding the flour, the eggs, the sugar, the butter, and baking soda in between her left molars, while her tongue is lapping the white frosting with saliva. She walks slowly across the foyer with her eyes closed until her light brown eyes see blood vessels behind her eyelids in spite of the brightness that caused her to open and notice she's under the crystal chandelier and looked away, mortified, with a giggle to herself, with her mouth shut, but her expression changed slightly after the giggle stopped, with her sight set on the wall, with a 60 by 72 wood frame picture of her deceased mother's light brown eyes on a black backdrop in gelatin print, which got her hypnotized so much so that she gulped 1 minute later to break out of the spell of her mother's eyes. But when she looked down at the cake on the saucer she was carrying on her right hand, she realized that it was only the first bite. Poem.
Thank you, Chris. Well done. Okay, over to Karen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having this wonderful program, and thank you, Deborah. The poem is called Dutch Dormer. You called to tell me you were sick and in bed. You needed me to tell you all would be well, so near your birthday, both of ours in April. You were my first and eldest child, though I was young and felt younger with you cradled in my arms, both of us cocooned together for your afternoon nap. The light coming in from the Dutch dormer window in the bedroom's long rectangular shape cast strips of sunlight shimmering on yellow walls, and above our heads a deeper shadow as the sun moved under the eaves. My bed wide and soft, with your head rested on my arm, content in the soft web we made of each other, where there was no telling where one began, the other ended in the ancient story of mother and child. Unable to turn with you beside me, I watched your lips move, eyelids flutter, not knowing who you would become, while I, in your eyes, never changed as you became more yourself, with no memory of those afternoons together. Mysterious to myself watching and keeping watch, you slept the sleep of infants. Undeterred, the afternoon sun played with the deepening dusk, and your slow, melodic breath blended with mine, older, more practiced, in harmony with yours.
Thank you, Karen. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, over to you, Claude.
Well, I'm a lifetime surfer, and this poem is about a lady who used to surf. The lip is the wave as it's starting to break as it comes over. And inside there, that's the tube. You want to get inside the tube. And when you're surfing, you want to be in the right spot to catch the waves. So you have to find the best place to line up. You got to be in a lineup. The Nelfred Nickman Parade of Waves. Nelfred Nickman used to surf, all dignity and gumption. But then she broke her toe, blew out her engine, had 2 babies. Before another winter froze her face again, after a snowstorm, she walked down the cliff to Poker Point, where the wind swept offshore and the teeny eyes beside her gaped silent. From the shiny horizon between the whitecaps and the muffling amazement, she promised herself that as these swells marched into the cove, she would again find the self-possession to don a modern wetsuit and drop into an invigorating wall, glide within a tube, pop off some rainbow spray, using the lip as an accelerating friend. The winter gales haunted her devoted motherhood, but inevitably, the spring came. She waited till May. The first steps into the water were painful. No boots on her white appendages, no gloves on her detergent-dried hands. Noontime warmth, chilly ocean. A southern low had created peaks, peeling left and right, consistently, one after the next. The initial tube was dry. The following wave snuffed her as she tried to climb out of its collapsing oven. Her adrenals fired. Her mind craved more nuptial nascence. She studied the colors of the hillside, the asymmetry of the rocks and the trees, gaining a lineup. Others on the beach inspired by her stoic style, neither flaring nor flailing. Wave after wave celebrated her re-entry into the world of salty love. Her babysitter digging holes in the sand with her children. Stoked surfers paddling around the mossy boulders on the inside, watching her crank a turn like a champion. Lines of waves rising behind her, monuments to her soul that they would share when Nelfred hooted and flew over the back of a swell, her parade of waves never ceasing on this glorious May morning of a precious surf rebirth.
Thank you, Claude. Very interesting insight and experience on the surf. Okay, the next group of 3 is actually a group of 2. So we've got Dan Kerr, and then we've got followed by Shu. So if you're you haven't read so far and you'd like to read, please put your name in chat, even if you put it in there once before. It's possible there's been a lot of discussion on chat. Maybe you put your name in and I missed it. So we'll start with Dan, and then we'll go with Shu, and then we will we'll pick up anyone else who wants to read. Okay, so this is Dan, and this poem is called "Pride Cometh Before the Fall." And Deborah and I didn't plan this, but she ended her reading with 2 running poems, and this is one of my running poems. As you know, we do the 5K race each year and the 2K walk, and occasionally Sue, my wife Sue, and I do the route together. So this is called "Pride Cometh Before the Fall." Husbands and wives of many years often struggle to find things they enjoy doing together. Our little church does an annual 5K run, and we decided to run the route every Saturday morning. And so began an interesting journey of discovery. Each time we ran, I was always ahead. I knew to pick up the pace whenever I heard the pounding sound of her little feet. As weeks passed, she added treadmill time to her daily exercise routine. I told her I did not think my well-honed exercise routine needed any tinkering. One fateful day in July, I could not escape the pounding sound of her little feet. As I looked over my shoulder to see how close she was, I heard the first warning. Don't look back while you run, you will fall. Each time I looked, I asked myself, what was I running from? And why was I so fearful she would pass me? Is she the old man from the Twilight Zone episode that kept the young woman driving cross country kept seeing on the road? Don't look back while you run, you'll fall. Am I Bobby Riggs about to be embarrassed on national TV by Billie Jean King? Don't look back, you'll fall. Am I Cosmo Castarini from the movie Moonstruck about to be told by his wife, Cosmo, you're going to die anyway. Don't look back, you'll fall. As I looked over my shoulder the fourth time, I did not see the sticks in the road and landed hard on the asphalt road. As I lay in the street and assessed the damage to my ankle, my ribs, both shoulders, my elbow, and my knee, I found the answer to my questions. As Julius Caesar learned the hard way, sometimes husbands simply need to heed the repeated warnings of their wives. Pride does indeed cometh before the fall. Thank you. Okay, Shu, over to you. And
Good morning, everyone. So I post the poem on chat so you can read along. A hot summer day, as if an oven is set on slow cooking. Trees stand still, unable to breathe. Flowers have lost their pride, now wilting. Grass wishes to grow downwards, seeking cool earth. Wind hides somewhere deep in the forest. The clouds have nowhere to flee. Hard-working bees take an unexpected break. The cicadas cease their unusual course. Even the sun tries to find shelter. A shower would be a rescue for all. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, so let's, I know there are some other folks that probably want to read, so let's go around, change the view here a little bit. Okay, so was there anyone else who wanted to read? Just wave your hands here. And I'm having a little different. Okay, so Bruce, we'll go to Bruce.
And Herb,
Bruce and then Herb, okay?
Thank you, Dan.
And
thank you,
Wendy,
Kathy.
don't forget Wendy.
Okay, hold on, groups of three. So Bruce, Herb, and Wendy.
Linda Oprah's
Oh.
here.
Okay, let's go three. So Bruce, Herb, and then Wendy.
And
Okay.
then we've got Linda.
Oh,
Oprah.
just hold.
I
Three at a
came,
time. Three at
yeah,
a
I
time.
just came to listen to Deborah and everybody else. So no
Okay.
reading for me today. Wow.
Thank you for all the assistant moderators.
Our loss.
We'll go with these three. So Bruce, Herb, and Wendy, and then we'll go another round. So Bruce, over to you.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Kathy. And thank you, Deborah. This is called Comset Park, Lloyd Neck, New York. As she wanders along the edge of the meadow, knotty tree limbs paint brown abstractions on a blue sky, and branch tips sing spirituals in a key and meter chosen by the wind. Friends travel the wide earth, yet for her, it is enough to walk this fragment she has found just a few miles from home, wearing a deeper, more familiar path with each pass. She is in love with every season, when April's deep mud steals the shoe from her foot, when July's green grows so lush one can climb into a cave of foliage and lose the sky, when the fading colors of November and a faint smell of decay remind her even now of schoolwork undone, when the snapping of March tree bough reports lonely death only days before new birth.
She studies the paths and borders, has climbed each boulder on shore, rubbed every sea-smoothed gouge, knows the potholes in the sagging roads and the colors of the grasses. She memorizes fables told by saltwater breezes as they whisper in the reeds, stories she would preserve for her children and theirs.
Thank you, Bruce. Well done. Okay, Herb, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is an Italian/Petrarchan sonnet that was published in Almanac Transitions, and it's on page August 28. I love that there are dates instead of pages. Okay, I reflect. A large display by little lightning bugs with lambent light illuminates the dark that inundates this lushly leafy park. That light can't burn away the night that hugs and hides each tree. The dark trees' sighs and shrugs, brought with the wave of wind, are plainly stark signs that they're well resigned to each frail spark, while drowsily resisting its slight tugs. I sigh at all the intermittent light, reflect on how my own creative power is similar to it. Still, I want height and heat like one blue sun that can devour dark depths. My lightning bugs and summer night with lambent light insight is all too dour. Thank you.
Okay, Wendy, over to you.
First of all, what a marvelous featured poet today, and I'm always honored to be reading amongst such great poets. And I'll share a little bit of my summer almost 70 years ago. It's called Summer Exodus. Summer heat radiated off the Bronx street as we loaded our 49 Ford like pioneers going cross country. We filled it with life's necessities, clothes, blankets, pots, pans, a lamp. Looked like there was no room for us. Somehow we all squeezed in. The complaints rang out. I need more room. Get your feet off of me. Kids, stop fighting or we're not going. It quieted down real fast. To 3 little girls ranging from 7 to 11, a 2-hour trip felt overwhelming. Sure, my parents felt the same way. Halfway through the journey, repeated cries rang out. I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go really bad. Just in time for little bladders, Dad pulled into the Red Apple rest slot. My sisters and I raced to the bathroom. Disasters avoided, we were rewarded. Ice cream all around. Cheers rang out as we saw the sign, Rosen's Summer Bungalows. Drove down road lined with apple trees, pulled up to our 2-month home. Barefoot, jumped out of the car, ran, then rolled through freshly mowed grass. Our summer in the country had begun.
Well done. Well done. Anyone who's ever ridden as a kid in a station wagon has experienced that. So,
thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyone else who wants to read? Kathy, I know we'll reserve a spot for you in case you want to read. Anyone else wants to read? Just wave your hand. Going once, going twice.
We have some people on the telephone, Kathleen and Lisa.
Okay.
I guess.
So James was waving his hand. So let's go to James and then we'll pick up anyone on the phone. James, go ahead. Got to turn your mic on, James. James, your mic is on, but we're not hearing any sound. So sorry about that. Still a problem with your computer. Okay, the people who are on the phone who want, you just have to activate your microphone. And if anyone on the phone wants to join us, please go right ahead. And Kathy, if we don't get any in 20 seconds. You go ahead, you do the last read before we get to Deborah's encore. Okay, no one. Okay, Kathy, I don't hear anyone else, so why don't you go?
Okay, so we just spill over a little bit, 12:03. So I have a poem, Deborah, and Chip, you're breaking my heart there. So I want to just read this, meant to be funny, but quite serious, actually. It's called In the Kitchen. I sprinkled oregano on my oatmeal, stirred flour into my green tea. I spread mustard same color on my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, plopped hummus into my fruit smoothie, squirted chocolate on my soy dog. I poured olive oil onto the dishes for washing, barefoot dropped a glass that shattered. I am having a bad day. I want to trust you.
Well
So, Deborah, Deborah, we have a spot for you to end this session with. And I must say, you really not only have an incredibly strong poems, but you deliver them so well. You read so beautifully. So thank you. And we'll end with a poem from you.
Thank you. Let me find my last poem. Okay. I'm going to change it up because you just read that poem about mistakes, Kathy. So I'll read one about typos.
Okay.
These are real typos, and I think typos are a great prompt when you're writing. If you make a typo, you can leave it in your poem and play with it and see if it leads you someplace else. Never admit your mistakes. I text my yoga teacher. I think I need to start medication. I meant meditation, but maybe my subconscious knows best. I once wrote a whole poem about the angel of penetration, rather than admit I made a mistake and meant angle of penetration. Either way, a virgin is ruined. I return a can of paint to the store because I just can't deal with any more pain. I mean paint. I mean pain. I keep shopping for paint I don't need. I have gallons of it stored in the basement, enough for a fresh coat every year. There's nothing worse than a dull coat of paint. I like to keep it bright and sharp.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for spending the morning here.
Kathy, over to you.
We've had Hiram LaRue with us today. He is our feature for next month. We look very forward to hearing him read for us. I met him on Linda Dickman's reading, and you know, amongst others, he wowed me. And so Linda gave me the information I needed to find him. So Hiram, we look forward to you next month.
Thank you, folks. That concludes the formal part of the reading, so I'm going to stop recording.